What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome back to the Dapper Snapper Gaming channel, and welcome back to How Do I Want to Do This? This is our series where we take a look at all playable options available to players in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, and then we rank them on a scale of 1 to 10 and either build or fix them together depending on how they rank. Now this week we are finishing up talking about the Order of the Mutant, and next week we move on to the Profane Soul, and then we are done with Blood Hunter, which is crazy, but there were only 4 of them, so it didn't take that long. Then we're moving on to Cleric, and then we're going to be there for a long time because there are a lot of subclasses for that. But so, if you're excited to see just how mutated we can make ourselves and how much poison we can shove down our gullet and still be powerful, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Of course, most people who watch this channel are not subscribed, so please don't be one of those people. Help us out. Help those numbers to grow so that we can grow as a channel. We just reached 600 subscribers the other day in our live stream, so thank you all who came out and joined the live stream. And I'm hoping to be able to do a lot more of those in the future, so be checking out the channel for that. The best way to keep track of that is on my Discord. The link, of course, is in the description for that, so go ahead and check that out as well. As always, make sure to share the video with your friends and click the bell so you're notified whenever new videos are uploaded. So the Mutant is a build that I struggled with actually a lot, and I was trying to make this a unique build. I was trying to make this super flavorful, but the more flavor I tried to throw in there, the worse that it got. And it like thematically it would make a lot of sense, and then just power wise it was just you wouldn't have felt very good doing the flavorful build. So that will be in the honorable mentions. I will go into quite a bit of detail on what I had for that build because that build made it quite far, but then I just kind of got really stuck on how to make the build like really okay, and it never quite made it for me. So I'll talk about that at the end in our honorable mentions, but until then, let's go ahead and look at what I ended up coming up with. While slightly less flavorful and probably a little tougher to tell the story of, I think that you could find something. I think that this could be a very interesting story to tell in your next campaign. So for our race, we're going custom lineage. I know custom lineage is boring and so is variant human, but I need 2 feats here and I need the rest to be ASIs, and I don't want to put any of the ASIs off any longer than I'm already going to. So I'm going to go ahead and take a feat here, take another feat here in a little bit, and then the rest of it is going to just be a bunch of ASIs, and it will be barely enough for what it is that I'm trying to do. So let's take a look at what we're taking here. The feat that I want to take at level 1 is Crossbow Expert. So we are going to be using a hand crossbow on this build. It is a very fun weapon. Obviously, it's a one-handed tiny crossbow, uses a D6 for its damage rather than the D8 of the light. And we are going to be using Crossbow Expert with it, which gives us a number of really cool benefits. Number 1, we ignore the loading property, which is really cool. We do not have disadvantage when we fire within 5 feet of us, which is great. And we also can make a bonus attack as our bonus action whenever we take the attack action with a one-handed weapon. This fills its own requirement, and so we can just make 2 attacks, which is really cool. So that's awesome. Speaking of which, the way it's worded is it suggests that you wield a sword in one hand and a hand crossbow in the other. I'd like to know if any of you have made a build like that where you have a sword in one hand and a hand crossbow in the other and used Crossbow Expert that way. I've not had a build that does that, but I would like to know if you have, and I would like to know the story of that character down in the comments below. For our stats, we have not what you would expect normally, at least from a build like this. We're actually going 17 intelligence. I know it's very weird to be maxing out intelligence, which normally is our secondary stat, sometimes even our tertiary stat. But second up, we're going with a 15 constitution, 13 in strength, I know, weird, 12 wisdom, 10 dexterity, and 8 charisma. You're thinking, well, Dapper, normally we do dex builds for Blood Hunters, so now you're doing a strength build, but you didn't make the strength very high. What are you doing? I have my reasons, and it'll all make sense here in just a second. So our +2 is of course going into our intelligence, so we're gonna have a 19 in intelligence, and the rest of them are staying the same. Level 1, we are not starting Blood Hunter once again. Again, I think Blood Hunter is just a little rough at the first few levels, and so I think we need to really establish a base for this to add on top of. So it's going to be a little bit before we go Blood Hunter. I don't think quite as long as last time in our build from last week. That'll be in the iCard above right there for the Order of the Lycan. But we're starting Fighter actually. And yes, I threw some Fighter in last week because you can't help but throw Fighter in there. But we're doing our splits a little bit different this week, and it's gonna be pretty cool. I think you're gonna like this. So at level 1 for Fighter, we get a fighting style and we get second wind. For our fighting style, yes, we have a hand crossbow. Don't take archery. I know it's weird. I get it. Don't take archery. The reason is we're going to take archery when we go Blood Hunter, and Blood Hunter doesn't have any other options that would really help us here. So pick something different while we're a fighter. I would suggest either defense, which I always suggest because it's just a +1 to AC if you want to do that, or superior technique. Superior technique would also work really well here. And for what to choose, I would honestly look at ambush. Ambush helps with your initiative, which our initiative is going to be pretty bad on this build. So ambush might be good, or precision attack in helping us to not miss our attacks. Either one of those would be really nice. It's only going to be a D6, so you know our superiority die really isn't going to be insane. But yeah, ambush and precision attack I think are really good. Either one of those would work just fine here. And of course, second wind, we can heal a little bit of HP as a bonus action, which is pretty cool. As far as our equipment goes, I'm normally not too specific on what to take here, but what I would suggest is taking chainmail here, which you get as part of your standard equipment here. This is why we have the 13 in strength, is in order to wear the chainmail. Unfortunately, we're really not going to have a chance to raise our strength to a 15 in order to get any higher of armor, so that's unfortunate, but I think that we're going to be just fine here. This is why I suggested possibly taking defense, because defense would raise your AC that one more. And yes, I am aware that if we had put our dexterity a little bit higher, we could have taken medium armor and ended up in roughly the same place, but I would rather go with this and get rid of our dexterity here, just because we don't have any room to boost strength or dexterity on this build because we're taking 2 feats, and just the way that all of the ASIs work out, I don't have a great time to boost either of those to where they would be a +2, and so either way we're not really in the best position. So this is probably about the best that we can do, at least for now. If you have more suggestions, let me know in the comments down below. So we're gonna take the chainmail, we're going to take a hand crossbow as soon as you can get one, and grab a shield. Shields are super handy. Now, I would say that we probably won't be using the shield all that much right now, just because you can't reload your hand crossbow while you also have a shield up, which was pointed out in my Valor Bard video, which was correct. However, we're gonna make use of it here in just a minute. So I think some of you might be able to see where we're going with this, but yeah, we're just buy the shield. It's not very expensive, and just carry it around on your back for right now, and we will use it here in just a little bit. Your AC is fine for level 1, so it's fine. Level 2, we're already multi-classing, and I know you all are like, well, you know, Dapper normally waits until level like 3, 4, or 5, somewhere in there. Nope, Dapper's just taken 1 level and we're out. So yeah, it's a little rough, and you might be thinking, well, you know, Dapper, why aren't you taking Action Surge yet? Because honestly, we're not going to get a whole lot out of Action Surge right now, just because I would like to wait until we have extra attack to take that, and I need to fix our problem with holding a shield. I want to be able to wield a shield as soon as I possibly can. And this is how we do it, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. We started with Fighter so that we could get our armor proficiency straight up, so that hopefully we'll have some survivability while we're here just not doing a whole lot of damage. So there's a method to the madness, I understand. So we're going Artificer. I know, Artificer, so weird, but it's fine. There's a lot of really cool things about Artificer, which we've talked about on the channel before. If I have a card left, that'll go up there for you to check out right there. And we get Magical Tinkering, which is kind of a flavor tool. I don't think it's all that useful, really. but it can come in handy, I guess. And spellcasting, that's more that's a little more useful. For your cantrips, I would just take mending for sure, and then pick your favorite. Besides that, there are a lot of really good artificer cantrips. Probably something you could take, like shocking grasp for if somebody gets in your face, but again, you already have you can fire at 5-foot range with no disadvantage. So either way, whatever you want. Firebolt's always a good one, so you can take that too. So yeah, and then first level spells, we get a few. I would probably take Absorb Elements. Some other suggestions: Cure Wounds, really good. Fairy Fire, Grease, and Sanctuary, all really good first level spells. You'd get a lot of mileage out of any of those, so definitely pick those up. Artificer 2, this is where we're happy here. We get our infusions, which is the whole point of artificers and what makes them, not trash. It makes them usable. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna take 2 of them, which you get 4, but only 2 of them can be used right now. The 2 that we're gonna have active are Enhanced Defense. I know, there it is again, boost in AC. Dapper's always about raising that AC. The other one is one that doesn't get picked a whole lot because usually you're better off picking a different enhanced weapon or enhanced focus, anything like that. We're gonna take Repeating Shot. Repeating Shot is one that doesn't get picked a lot because it doesn't scale. It is a flat +1 to your attacks and damage rolls, which is still nice. I mean, you're level 3 and you have a magical weapon, which is pretty fantastic, right? So you take your non-magical hand crossbow and add a +1 to it, but moreover, you get to create your own ammo magically every time that you fire the weapon. This means that we can now use our shield with our hand crossbow. So we've solved the problem. Everything's right with the world. We're all good. So now you can pull out your shield now that you're level 3, and you can have your shield and your hand crossbow at the same time. So that's really great. At least you can make multiple attacks now. You could have them out before, but you can only make 1 attack per turn. Now you can just you can go to town because you don't need a free hand anymore. That's awesome. Next level, we're going Artificer 3. Artificer 3 is where things kind of just get cool. Really, really neat. And again, I wanted to go Alchemist for flavor. We'll talk about Alchemist at the end of the video in our honorable mentions, but that's not the direction we're going. We are actually going with Battlesmith, which I know is weird, right? But so far, the story makes a whole lot of sense. It makes some sense right now, right? So we've got our fighter, maybe in some kind of, maybe a guard somewhere, or in some kind of an organized military group, who has learned to work in magic of some capacity, and figure out how to imbue magic items. So that's really cool, and probably working for the military still at this point, which is pretty neat. And we are going to take Battlesmith here. So we get tool proficiencies, which is neat. So we get Smith's tools, cool flavor stuff. Talk to your DM about getting Alchemist supplies, because that's going to be kind of important going forward, as far as that's kind of what we do if it's the flavor for sure. We also get some Battlesmith spells. We get Heroism, which is good, and we get Shield, which is fantastic. Shield is definitely one of, if not my favorite spells, and it's amazing. I love it. We also get Battle Ready. Battle Ready is the whole reason we're here, right? So we get proficiency with martial weapons. We already had that because we were fighter. What we didn't have, though, is that now we can use intelligence instead of strength or dexterity when we use weapons. So we no longer are worrying about using our 10 dexterity in order to add to our bonus to hit and to damage. We now are using our intelligence. That's amazing. So we just went from +0 to +4. That's huge. That's wonderful. I love that. So we're feeling a lot better. We also have our Steel Defender here. We probably aren't going to be using it, at least to its full potential, just because it scales as you level with Artificer, and we're not going to be going that much farther. So unfortunately,
It'll be there for soaking up an attack or two. It's there to impose disadvantage if it's within 5 feet of an ally that gets attacked, so that's pretty cool too. So it's still got some cool features as far as helping with action economy, but as far as it going out and taking a bunch of kills and soaking up a bunch of hits, not going to be doing that. So don't rely on it for that. Just try to get it to help out with some adding some disadvantage and that sort of thing. So it can do that very well, which is cool. Level 5, we're an Artificer 4. And we get an ASI or a feat. Like I said, I need another feat here, and then I'm done. But I need to go ahead and take a feat here, and we're taking Sharpshooter. So the classic combination of Crossbow Expert with Sharpshooter. So Sharpshooter gives us another round of really, really good benefits here. So we have no disadvantage for our long range, which is really good because our range really isn't that fantastic using a hand crossbow. So this helps to fix that a little bit. We also ignore 1/2 and 3/4 cover, which is pretty great. And if we want to take a -5 to hit, we can then also take a +10 to our damage. That's pretty awesome because our bonus to hit's going to be pretty awesome because we're using a +1 weapon for free. Our intelligence is now quite good. We're working on it. We're making it a lot better, which is fantastic, and it's only going to get better as far as making ourselves more effective at fighting. So don't worry, it's going to get even better as we go. The other thing is once we start taking Blood Hunter levels, we can use our intelligence for our save for our mutagen die. That's pretty great. Our mutagen save DC is going to be quite good because now we're only focusing on intelligence. That's why Battlesmith is super synergetic with the Blood Hunter. And speaking of Blood Hunter, we're going to start taking levels now. We are now a Blood Hunter 1. It took us long enough, but it's only level 6. So, I mean, we could have done a lot worse. And you're also probably saying, but Dapper, one more level and you would have had extra attack. And to that I say, you're right. but I'm doing this anyway. I'm doing this anyway because I want to get my Blood Hunter stuff going as quickly as I possibly can because I need one of the mutagens in order to make ourselves even more effective, and I'd rather not put that off. We're gonna get extra attack anyway here in just a few levels. Don't worry, it's all going to come together. This is definitely one that gets spikes as we go. It plateaus for a little bit and then gets a bump, and then plateaus for a little bit and then gets a bump. So that's just the nature of this build, unfortunately, but it is what it is. So at Blood Hunter 1, we get Hunter's Bane, so we can now track things a lot easier, which is good. We can also get our Blood Maledict here. Feel free to take things that require a saving throw on this because yeah, you can do that. Your save's going to be pretty good. I would definitely take Eyeless, the Blood Curse of the Eyeless. That's always a good one. And Blood Curse of Binding. Those are also really good. But pick your favorites. You're going to get a bunch of them throughout your progression. So, feel free to take a bunch of really good ones. There's a bunch of other ones, but those are my 2 favorites. At Blood Hunter 2, we finally get our other fighting style, and now we can take archery. So now we have another +2 to hit with our hand crossbow. Just adding on, and it's so nice. It's so nice being able to have that bonus to hit. Our bonus to hit's kind of insane now, which is great, and we're feeling pretty good. We're feeling pretty good about this, and it's going to get better here in just a second at level 3. But we also get our Crimson right here. What you take here is really dependent on your style and what you're fighting. So if you're in a campaign where everything resists or is immune to fire, probably not that one to take that does fire damage. Probably take the Thunder one. Thunder one is probably generally your best one, just because for the most part, I think more creatures resist fire and cold than thunder, but if that's wrong, then correct me in the comments. But I think that's right. So that's probably your most widely used, but you can always do whatever you want. So lighting a sword on fire is kind of like everybody's goal in life because it's just cool. So if you just want to do that because it looks awesome, do it. It's all whatever you want to do. Blood Hunter 3, we get to take our subclass here, and we are going, of course, Order of the Mutant. And we get a couple of things here. We get our formulas and our mutagen craft, which basically are two features just combined into one. It allows you to learn these formulas, and you can ingest them however it is that you ingest them, and you gain a benefit and you gain a detriment as well. So for these, I'm honestly just going to say pick your favorites. There's only one that I require here. The rest of them, take whatever you want, whatever fits your character's flavor. But the one that you need to take is Sagacity. Sagacity is super important because, like I told you in the video earlier this week, there are 3 of them that allow you to boost a certain stat by 3, 4, and 5 at respective levels, and it also increases your stat maximum. This is one of the very few ways in order to do that, and wouldn't you know it, there is an intelligence one, and that would be Sagacity. So at our 11 right now, until we're level 11, we get a +3 bonus, and that's cool because we're at a 19, so that puts us at a 22 intelligence essentially. We've now added even more to our bonus to hit, which just makes sharpshooter that much safer. It's fantastic. So yeah, now keep in mind you do get disadvantage on charisma saving throws, so if you see your DM is going to throw a bunch of charisma saving throws at you, probably get rid of this, flush it from your system, but we will be able to ignore this a little bit later when we get our strange metabolism, so that's also really cool. But again, pick your favorites, whatever else you want, but that one's kind of necessary. Next level, we are a Blood Hunter 4, and we're going to go ahead and bump our Constitution by 2 up to a 17, which is pretty awesome. So we're at a 19 and a 17. That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice, even at this level. Blood Hunter 5, extra attack, of course. And so now we can fire twice, and then as a bonus action, we can fire again, which is really cool. Then, next level, we're going back to Fighter and picking up Action Surge. Now that we have extra attack, I think it's nice to go back and grab Action Surge, and we actually are going to also, at Fighter 3, get a subclass. Now, there are a lot of really good fighter subclasses out there. There are a lot of really good ones. Battlemaster, of course, is the one that's generally most accepted here. However, I don't like Battlemaster on a ranged character all that much. I think that you're gonna be a little bit more disappointed than with a melee character, but Battlemaster in melee is super scary, and it does a lot of really cool things. So yeah, we're not going to go with that. Instead, because we have found our magical powers in our Artificer days, we are going to go Eldritch Knight, and this is one that I wouldn't normally suggest all that much, but there are a few things that are really great about it. Number 1, it uses your intelligence. Our intelligence is already really good, so that's awesome. We also have met, I realized our 13 in strength not only was for our armor class, but it also is what meets our fighter dip requirement, which is really, really cool. But we get some cantrips and we get some more spells here, and they're off the wizard spell list. Basically the best spell list in the game, so we get a lot of really cool value here. So for cantrips, honestly, pick your favorites. You get a few here, and you've already picked up a few with Artificer. Pick up some that you didn't get with Artificer. So if you didn't get Firebolt already, probably go ahead and pick that up. Now would be a good time. First level spells, though, now is the time to honestly pick up things that do require saving throws. A lot of your really good utility things. Number 1, if you want something more offensive, Magic Missile is always a good option. No problems there. Now keep in mind we're only going to have a couple of second level spell slots, and that's as far as we're going. So you're not going to be able to do massive damage, but it's still nice to have something like that there. And of course, you can use your crossbow as a spellcasting focus, so you can just fire your stuff out of that. So that's pretty cool. Then we go back to Blood Hunter. And we are a Blood Hunter 6. We are taking our brand of castigation here, so now it's easier for us to find things that we've branded as part of an attack, and if they attack a creature near you, you can deal some damage equal to your intelligence modifier, which is a 6, as long as you have drank the elixir, which is really cool. And we get our second use of our Blood Maledict per rest, which is also pretty awesome. At Blood Hunter 7, we get Strange Metabolism, and we get our Primal Right. We get a second one anyway. So again, pick whichever one works best in your campaign. Strange Metabolism is going to allow us to flush our system of the bad part of one of our mutagens, which is probably usually going to be the Charisma saving throw, but it depends. You could have something else that, if let's say you've gained a resistance to a certain damage type, and now you're realizing that both of them are going to be coming in one fight, it's probably best to switch over and actually flush that one instead. So that's something to consider for sure, but it's a really nice feature. It really helps to complement the detriment that comes along with your main feature. Blood Hunter 8, we get another ASI or a feat, and we're going to go ahead and bump our Constitution up to a 19. You also could take Tough here. You also could definitely make a point to take Tough here, but I ended up bumping Constitution instead. Either way, you're probably fine taking either one there. At Blood Hunter 9, we get Grim Psychometry. Again, kind of a ribbon feature for me, a little vague on its wording. At Blood Hunter 10, Dark Augmentation. Decent feature, pretty cool. And then at Blood Hunter 11, we get our Brand of Axiom. This is our boost given to us by our subclass, and it's super situational, especially at this high of level. You know, we're level 18. And this is super late to be getting a feature that probably would be really helpful around level like 6. Yeah, it's really late to be getting this. You probably aren't going to use it. It's fine. It's fine. Blood Hunter 12, we are going to bump our intelligence to 20 and our constitution to 20 as well. What is important about Blood Hunter 11 from last level is that we get a boost in our mutagen here. We get our sagacity goes up to a +4. So now we're at a 23. So it no longer really makes a difference. So we're going to bump our intelligence up to a 20. So now we are at a +7 in our intelligence as well as a +5 in constitution. That's so good. That's so nice. That's so nice. And remember, we're still not using any extra magical weapons that we found along the way. If you're at level 19, you know, now you have a 24 intelligence, you've probably found some really cool stuff along the way, right? You've probably got some really awesome things going on right now, and so having a 24 intelligence is super nice. Then finally, level 20, Blood Hunter 13, we get our Brand of Tethering, which is another boost to our brand, which is really cool. So it makes it harder for them to get away from us if you're tracking a creature. Which, I mean, if you're dealing with something that's super sneaky or, you know, starts like plane shifting and you go to the new plane with it, that could be good. This definitely could come up. The tethering can really come up actually at this level where, you know, you're fighting literally like anything out there, especially super powerful things that can plane shift like on a whim. This will come up. This will definitely come up. I hate that it's level 20 that we get it, but, you know, it is what it is. We also get a third use of Blood Maledict per rest. I was not expecting to do that in nearly one take, but it just kind of worked out that way, unfortunately. But it's fine. So let's go ahead and look at our honorable mentions here, and yeah, that'll be about it. So for this one, I considered doing a cleric build that would have given us heavy armor proficiency, and I honestly considered doing a Tempest Cleric dip here and combining that with our Rite of the Storm for our thunder damage, because we could have used our Channel Divinity in order to maximize that damage for coming off of our Rite. Is it worth 2 levels of Cleric in order to just make sure that we're doing a D4 or to do 4, 6, 8 extra damage? I don't think so. I don't think it's worth doing that extra guaranteed damage. Yes, that stacks on top of our sharpshooter. And so, you know, we're adding a lot of just flat damage. So as long as we hit, we're guaranteed to do X amount of damage. So that's cool. But I don't know if it's worth 2 levels. It's not Action Surge by any means. But in fairness, if you combined it with Action Surge and you're dealing all of that, that's per time you do damage. So, I mean, that does add up over time. So maybe it is worth it. Maybe it is worth a 2-level dip. So consider that. So yeah, Tempest Cleric plus Rite of the Storm. Definitely something that I considered. Okay, so the original build was an Artificer build, but we had an Alchemist instead. Obviously, we're here concocting poisons and other potions and that sort of thing. Going Alchemist makes a lot of sense. However, mechanically speaking, it was really underwhelming. I I really couldn't get a whole lot out of it as far as any kind of damage output, because I had to focus on dexterity instead. Being able to focus solely on intelligence just works so much better for our rights. It helps with just being a mutant. It's so important here to focus on intelligence, and so everything just works together so much better when we can focus on it. And plus the infusions helped out a lot. So yeah, I had to go with this. I really didn't have much other choice, unfortunately. But yeah, I think that this is really cool. The other thing that I looked at, there are actually two more, but another thing I looked at was the Arcane Archer. The Arcane Archer, unfortunately, has some problems. Number one, it's locked to a short bow or a long bow, so we would have had to change the weapon entirely and wouldn't have been able to use a shield. Even if that worked, though, Arcane Archer doesn't get enough use of the arcane shots for it to really be worth it to me. And I don't think that it would have been worth it. Arcane Archer has a lot of problems, unfortunately. It's one we haven't talked about really on the channel, but it's got some issues for sure. We'll talk about that in a lot more detail when we get to that video here in a while. Finally, I was looking at Rogue here. The Inquisitive Rogue would have actually worked really well here, not only for sneak attack damage, but the Inquisitive feature also gives you a really reliable way in order to actually use our sneak attack damage, and that's really nice. You know, it's based on insight, and we're going to be pretty good at insight, and so that's pretty cool. I think that would have worked out really, really nicely. Of course, Arcane Trickster is always a safe bet. Again, intelligence working out really well here, so that would have synergized really well as well, and you get some nice little illusion spells and that sort of thing as well. As far as feats go, tough, duh. Tough is a really good one. You could have done a strength-based character and switched this out for Great Weapon Master. You could have done that as well and dropped the shield and used a two-handed heavy weapon. You could have gone with a polearm here. It doesn't have to be ranged on this one, just because we're using intelligence instead of our dexterity or our strength. So you could have gone with that as well. So that's another way you could have gone polearm master, great weapon master instead of these two. So something to consider as well. And for other races we could have gone. I like the Mark of Hospitality Halfling. Again, that's from the Eberron book, so if you're not allowed to use the Eberron book, just a regular Halfling would be fine. Either a Stout or a Lightfoot would be just fine. Both of those would give you some pretty cool stuff. Probably Lightfoot would be a little bit better on this build. And then the Mark of Detection Half-Elf is really cool as well. Again, Mark of Detection, it's neat. It kind of doubles down on what you already do as a Blood Hunter. It works well with Blood Hunter as long as you can customize all of your stats. But yeah, it's really neat. I like it. It'd be really fun for a Blood Hunter to be that. So that is it for our video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Next week, we are talking about the Profane Soul Blood Hunter, and then we're done, and we're moving on to Cleric. So if you're excited to see how to mix a Warlock in with our Blood Hunter, that will be your ticket. So make sure you leave a like on today's video and subscribe so you don't miss any of next week's videos or anything beyond that. Until then, have a great weekend. Stay safe out there, stay healthy, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.